As we all know around here, the religious are convinced that they have proof for their imaginary friends, but unfortunately for them, they have no clue what proof actually is. They misunderstand the requirements for coming to rational conclusions because they're really not interested in rational conclusions, and these people really are not rational. I just wish they'd stop proving how dumb they are. We're back today with Towards Eternity, that Muslim channel that really has no clue. Well, I guess that describes all of them, but this is the Eric Lyons of the Muslim faith. And that's not something they really ought to be proud of. Today, they have irrefutable proof of God, which I will immediately and easily refute. Why? Because these people are dumb. They really are. So, let's just prove it once again.
We know that every needle must have its craftsman and owner.
Do we? I mean, really, do we? Because people have been using naturally occurring sharp objects as tools for a very, very, very long time. Nobody had to make them. They just picked something up off the ground that was temporarily useful, and then it was discarded once its usefulness was done. So we're already starting off in a bad place because the religious aren't trying to get to objective truth, only emotional comfort. They have a goal in mind, and they're going to try to get there, whether that goal is actually worthwhile or not. So claim number 1 is shot down and pathetically easily to boot. I hope they're going to do better than this. I'm not holding my breath.
And as we know, every letter must be written by someone.
Also demonstrably false. Every letter has to be interpreted by someone, otherwise it's just a random shape, but that doesn't mean that some person has to write them all down. This is just abjectly stupid.
Otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense, right?
No, that's religion. But religion doesn't exist to make sense. It exists to comfort the believer, whether any of the beliefs are actually true or not. That's really the problem when you think about it. Your comfort doesn't mean a damn thing. The facts are the facts, whether they make you happy or not, but the religious seem to have a real problem understanding that. And to be fair, it isn't just the religious who view the world that way. You'd be surprised how many times I get downvoted online when I simply state the obvious truth that your feelings don't matter when talking about reality. Because there's a lot of people out there who just don't want to hear that. They all want to believe that their own personal emotional comfort is of paramount importance when, unfortunately for them, it really isn't. And this is why there's so many irrational people running around out there. Because they can't handle reality.
Well, then how can it be that an extremely well-ordered human being has no ruler? Some people are ignoring the miracle of creation.
No, some people are making a bald assertion that there was a creation in the first place. And as should be no surprise, this whole video is stuffed full of logical fallacies spouted by people who can't handle the facts because the facts don't cater to their feelings. It's because the religious embrace the argument from incredulity and won't let it go. Believing this entirely unsupported thing, it makes me feel good, and I can't imagine how to square my feelings with any other position. Therefore, God. And that's not how this works. Sorry. It's embarrassingly sad that they look at it that way. Yet, here we are again with another religious video doing exactly that.
They claim that the human came into existence by atoms that came together. They also say that the human is only a speaking animal. Isn't this absurd?
Nope. While that explanation is vastly oversimplified, it's still the truth no matter how it makes you feel. The facts are the facts regardless of how you feel about them. You don't have to like them, and in fact, nobody really gives a damn if you do. You just have to accept them or be demonstrably wrong. And that's where the religious find themselves. In this, they're just behaving like immature children. I'm not getting my way, so I'm going to hold my breath until I turn blue. Really, talk to these people. This is the impression that you will get.
People who claim that don't even know which nonsense they have to accept with the denying of a creator.
Except, it isn't us that is accepting nonsense. It's you. We don't care about our feelings. We care about the demonstrable facts, and unfortunately for you, you have none. You have to present actual evidence for the validity of your claims. And the religious can't do that. Why? Because they just don't care. They are emotionally attached to an idea that has no rational validity whatsoever. But what difference does that make, right? None whatsoever, according to the religious. But as the world gets better educated and stops falling for empty claims, the religious have started to realize that they have to pretend to have something intelligent to present. And then we look at that, and we all fall down laughing. If this is the best they can do, they should give up now before they make an even bigger fool of themselves than they already have.
So, this is why we will ask you a few questions in order to make you think more in detail about this topic.
Okay, I'm good at answering questions. Unfortunately, the religious are very bad at listening to our answers because, as I keep saying, they just don't care. What we say doesn't matter to them. They are looking for gullible suckers who will buy into their irrational nonsense and give them money and political power. Because, let's be honest, that's really what all this is about, even if the individual religious laymen don't understand. But yeah, go ahead, ask us your questions. This ought to be good.
The human body consists of different parts, like our hands and feet, or inner organs. How is it possible that the blind atoms can create hands, feet, and organs? Just think about it.
And we have. This is right back to that theological gem, the argument from personal incredulity. I don't like that, so I won't believe it. I don't understand, so it can't be true. It doesn't fit in with my feelings, so I'm going to pretend it isn't real. Yeah, except it is. This is where every single shred of objective evidence that we have points, whether you like it or not. And that's what we really need to be paying attention to here. What is demonstrably true? Your feelings on the subject mean absolutely nothing. If you fall out of an airplane and are plummeting toward the ground, all the blind faith in the world that you'll be caught by angels or that gravity will stop working just for you, none of that actually means a thing. You're going to splat whether you like it or not. Your feelings don't mean anything. It's not all about you. Get that through your head.
Atoms don't possess any knowledge about life conditions, but they should be able to create a human body that is viable. Really? How can the atoms of the eye create an eye that is able to see the sun, while they are not able to see the sun themselves?
Really, we've known this for a very long time now, And it isn't that hard to understand, at least if you care at all about reality. But the religious don't. They're sitting there like immature little children with their eyes clenched closed, screaming, "You're wrong!" Because these people are idiots. They really are. They reject all of the evidence right in front of their faces because that evidence doesn't give them the dopamine hit in the brain that they so desperately desire. There is something very wrong with these people. They are simply not concerned whether the crap in their head makes any kind of rational sense. If it isn't all about their fifis, it has to be wrong. And that's just stupid.
Are you saying that your ear atoms have created your ears while they are not able to hear themselves?
No, I'm saying you're an idiot. Because that's really where we're having problems getting through to these people. There are no ear atoms. There is a long process of biological evolution for which we have a massive wealth of data that proves how it happened. We actually understand things like that, unlike the religious children who are just throwing immature temper tantrums because they aren't getting their way. It's like, what planet are you people from, and why in the world won't you go back there and leave normal people like us in peace?
And the atoms of the tongue cannot taste, but they create the tongue? How should this all be possible? Come on, does it really make sense to you?
It does, if you're not an overly emotional get without the ability to think rationally and critically. We could just keep going on and on and on, proving just how ignorant this guy is. But I think I've made my point. We know how this stuff works. We have tons of evidence on our side, and all of it makes predictions which come to pass consistently. What do the religious have? Nothing. They have their fifis, that's about it. They ought to be embarrassed by this, but unfortunately they're not. So we'll just have to be embarrassed for them because the things coming out of their mouths are really, really dumb. But these are not smart people, are they? It's why their religions are falling apart anywhere that education is on the rise. Because smart people don't fall for this crap. Only real idiots do. And look who we're talking about.
Let's keep going. We all know that atoms have no patterns, right?
Yes they do. Where are you getting this? Atoms definitely have patterns. They behave in predictable ways, dictated by the natural laws of the universe. And maybe that's why these people are so dumb. Because they don't actually know any of this. They lack a basic education in the sciences. They've spent too much time displacing quality information in their heads with complete religious nonsense. And maybe that explains a lot. The religious tend to be terrified of anything they can't control, which is why they tend to favor religious education, where they don't have to teach the stuff they don't like, even if it's true. Especially if it's true. And that seems to be why they're so ignorant, because they never learned any of the things that they needed to learn early on in life. And that's kind of sad, isn't it?
Then how are the atoms able to create organs which were designed so perfectly that you would think specific patterns were used for each one of them? The organs themselves are a miracle of creation.
Which is why so many of them break down, right? Which is why so many people are born with faulty organs and genetic diseases, right? It's why we fall apart as we age. It's why so many people have to wear glasses and hearing aids. There is no design here. Life, whether you like it or not, is just a kludge, which is a quick and dirty solution that is clumsy, inelegant, inefficient, difficult to extend, and hard to maintain. And that's what life is. It's the best biological evolution could come up with at the time, and it's a constant battle to make things that are better adapted. This is not some divine perfection. It's a barely functioning clusterfuck. Welcome to reality. Grow the fuck up.
How can simple atoms place the organs at the perfect place in our bodies? More than that, how can they even know the numbers of the organs that are essential for our bodies?
You are looking for things that just don't exist. That's why we have vestigial organs, things that once served a purpose, but we evolved beyond them, and they really don't do a whole lot anymore. It's why we can remove things like the spleen and the gallbladder with no deleterious effect. They really aren't important anymore. Yet our theists, they've got an ego, and they want to be important, which is why they pretend that humans are really special. It's why they pretend that everything that makes up our bodies is perfect, because they want to be wonderful, even though they're not.
All these activities are only possible with specific attributes like an internal life, will, knowledge, and an internal might.
Now, demonstrate that any of those things are actually real. Go ahead. Because once again, the religious are just yanking things out of their asses because the idea makes them feel good, even if it's complete nonsense. Really, how many times can we prove that they are wrong before they stop making fools of themselves? Can anyone answer that? Let's take a vote. When will they actually grow up and learn something? Let me know your answer in the comments.
And you give all these attributes to atoms which don't even possess one of them? Really? Okay, let's come to a conclusion. There are two options. Either you say that atoms are the owner of endless knowledge, will, and might, or you say that these atoms are the creation of God.
Or I say that you're an idiot without a clue and we all just call it a day. Anyone want to disagree with my third option? Anyone? Because that's really what this all comes down to. These are people with a singular lack of maturity and intellect, focused on their own feelings and wishes and dreams, and hiding from reality because reality is scary. And for some reason, they think we ought to take them seriously, even after we prove them wrong time and time again. Why is that exactly? I'm not quite sure either. Honestly, though, they think this is irrefutable proof of God without ever demonstrating once that God is real. Again, these people are just dumb. I like the idea of God, therefore, I'll just throw out some easily disproven claims, ignore all the evidence against me, and then pretend that somehow this proves something that I've never even made a half-assed attempt to prove, and just declare victory. Except that's not how this works. You actually have to provide direct and demonstrable evidence that your claims and your religion are true, and for those, the religious have absolutely nothing. That's why they spend all of their time preaching to the choir, because they know the ones who already believe their nonsense aren't going to ask any intelligent questions, because they aren't using their intelligence in the first place. It's all fee-fees, zero facts and evidence. Because who needs facts when you've got your emotions on overdrive? Smart people, that's who. And that's why there's such a strong negative correlation between advanced education and religiosity. Because smart people don't tend to fall for this. Who do you think that leaves for the religious? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Bum